Game 7 is happening, guys. Oh my God. I don't know if you guys were expecting this or not, but Jimmy Butler, Kyle Lowry, and Bam Adebayo and the boys were able to get it done. Yes, what a game. Okay, we got Game 7. Right now, I've said it before. I felt like this was going to be a 7-game series. If you go back to my Boston Celtics, Miami Heat predictions, I said this was most likely going to be a Game 7. I said it was the earliest it was going to finish was a Game 6, but I thought it was going to be a Game 7, and I'm going to stick with my prediction that the Miami Heat will beat the Boston Celtics. They won tonight 111-103, and they actually, were outscored for most of the second half, but then they were able to fight back, Like, for the fourth quarter at the beginning, they were completely outscored, but by the end of the fourth quarter, they were able to outscore the Boston Celtics. And this is what I'm talking about is, you just heard my dog shake right there, but what I'm saying right here, and I want to hear your opinions down below if you guys agree, is that with the Boston Celtics and the way that they play, I don't think they can beat the Miami Heat's vet. They got PJ Tucker, who's trying to win back-to-back championships. And then you also have Jimmy Butler, who's trying to win his first championship ever. You got Eric Spoelstra, championship-winning coach. Kyle Lowry, championship-winning point guard. You have guys on this roster that all have the championship experience, while you're looking at a Boston Celtics squad that I'm not saying that they're inexperienced, that they lack any veterans. Yes, they have plenty of guys who have plenty of playoff experience, plenty of big game moments. But who's won a championship on that roster? Because I'm looking at it right now, and Al Horford hasn't won a championship from my recollection. Jason Tatum hasn't won one. Marcus Smart hasn't won one. Jaylen Brown hasn't won one. Robert Williams hasn't won one. Grant Williams hasn't won one. There's no one on this roster that won a championship, and Derek White is the only one who. He came from the Spurs, but the Spurs were bad when he was there. I think he played 1 or 2 winning seasons there, but he was more in the rebuilding Spurs, not with the Tim Duncan Spurs. So no one really has a championship pedigree there. There's a championship pedigree in Miami. Besides that, I know Coach Udoka, Emi Udoka, has outcoached Eric Spoelstra for a majority of this, playoff series. But personally, I believe that Eric Spoelstra is the better coach out of the two of them, if I have to say so myself. I think Eric Spoelstra is one of the better after timeout play drawers, and he's just a really good X and O's and adjustments coach. And that's why I truly believe that it's going to come down to, I think that the Miami Heat are going to win this. So with that being said, I'm not saying that having a championship pedigree or having a championship winning coach is the sole reason that they're going to win this. That just having PJ Tucker and Kyle Lowry, 2 guys who have championship experience, and Jimmy Butler, a guy who's a dog, I'm not saying that that's the sole reason that they're going to win this. I just think that the Miami Heat have more heart in this fight. When you're this deep into the playoffs become a heavyweight slugfest. You ever just see a 12-round, 15-round heavyweight fight? By the end of the fight, or even a 5-round heavyweight UFC fight, when you see that happening, you see guys that are just throwing haymakers and are just trying to end that fight. And when the game becomes that point, Jimmy Butler had 47 points. That's what I'm saying. The Heat tied the game multiple times, and the Heat surged. And this is what I'm saying is when Jimmy Butler basically channeled his inner LeBron. And shout out Joe Vardon for saying that. It was that Jimmy Butler needed to channel his inner Heat version of LeBron James if they wanted to beat the Boston Celtics. And again, he had 47 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists, and he hit a clutch bucket with 43.9 seconds remaining that gave the Heat a 107-101 lead. A bucket that, put the nail in the coffin, proverbially. And that's what I'm saying is I think when you're this deep into the playoffs, again, I'm going to reiterate it, it's basically not about the dog in the fight. I guess it is about the dog in the fight. It's not basically about how big the dog or how bad the dog is in the fight. It's about how much heart the dog has in the fight. When Rocky fought Ivan Drago in the documentary Rocky IV, which, if you guys don't know, ended the Cold War, single-handedly ended the Cold War. In the beginning of that film, when he gets to Russia and he trains and he's defying communism in the sake of democracy, out chasing the car and, training the old-fashioned American way, just carrying nature on his back. And at the beginning of the fight, they're cheering, Drago, Drago. And at the end, when he says he's like iron, Rocky single-handedly defeats communism because they start cheering for Rocky, and he defeats Drago, who is communism in his own sake. This is what the Miami Heat are challenging their inner Rocky in a Drago fight that they might seem like I've lost myself in this argument, but basically they're like Rocky Balboa. They're just going to have more heart, and they're just going to keep fighting. But yeah, that's the video. Like and subscribe.